Welcome to my channel. Listen to my stories every day. Comment, like and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy listening.
The sun dips low, casting a warm, golden hue over the living room. The day's weariness seems to settle into the furniture, into the quiet corners of the house. I sit on the couch, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, feeling a sense of contentment after another long day at work. My wife, Jessica, is out with friends, a usual Friday night routine. The house feels unusually empty without her laughter filling the spaces. My phone rings, jolting me from my reverie. The caller ID flashes an unexpected name, Rachel. Jessica's best friend. Curious, I answer. Hello. Hi, David. Rachel's voice is soft, almost hesitant. Rachel? Is everything okay? I sit up, sensing an unusual tension. She pauses, and I can almost hear her gathering her thoughts. David, I need to tell you something important. I've been in love with you for a long time. I think you deserve the best. The words hang in the air, thick and heavy. My mind races, struggling to process the sudden confession. I love my wife very much. What makes you think she doesn't deserve me? I reply, my voice sharp with confusion and defensiveness. Silence stretches between us, tense and loaded. Then, in a hushed tone, Rachel breaks it. I promised not to talk, but I can't anymore. Your wife is cheating on you. If you don't believe me, I can provide proof. Before I can respond, the line goes dead. I stare at my phone, my heart pounding in my chest. The silence of the house feels oppressive now, the earlier contentment shattered. Minutes later, my phone buzzes with incoming messages. With a trembling hand, I open them. Screenshots. Intimate messages between Jessica and another man. The words blur as I scroll through, anger and betrayal crashing over me in waves. How could she? The woman I vowed to love and cherish, the woman I believed in wholeheartedly. I slam my phone down, fury bubbling up inside me. The happy, trusting memories of our life together now feel tainted, twisted by the stark evidence before me. I stand abruptly, pacing the room. The walls seem to close in, suffocating me with the weight of her betrayal. I can't let this slide. I need to confront her, to make her understand the gravity of what she's done. But more than that, a dark part of me whispers, I need to make her pay. Hours pass in a blur. I find myself nursing a glass of whiskey, the liquid courage burning a path down my throat. I don't even hear the front door open until Jessica calls out, her voice cheerful, unaware of the storm waiting for her. David? I'm home. I take a deep breath, my grip tightening around the glass. In here, I call back, struggling to keep my voice steady. Jessica walks in, her smile faltering as she sees me. Everything okay? I gesture to the seat opposite me. We need to talk. She sits down slowly, concern etched on her face. What's going on? I slide my phone across the table. Explain this. Jessica picks up the phone, her eyes widening as she reads the messages. Color drains from her face, and she looks up at me, her mouth opening and closing as she searches for words. David, I can explain. Explain. I cut her off, my voice rising. Explain how you've been lying to me. How you've been sneaking around behind my back. Tears well up in her eyes, but I feel no sympathy. It was a mistake, David. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything. I laugh bitterly. You think that makes it better? That it excuses what you've done? She reaches for my hand, but I pull away. David, please. I love you. I made a terrible mistake, but I still love you. The sincerity in her eyes might have swayed me once, but not now. Not after everything. Love? You don't know the meaning of the word. I stand up, pushing my chair back with a screech. Pack your things. I want you out of this house by tomorrow. Jessica's sobs fill the room, but I don't look back. I head upstairs, the sound of my footsteps echoing hollowly. In our bedroom, I close the door behind me, leaning against it as the reality of what I've just done settles over me. I glance at the bed we shared, the photos on the nightstand, and feel a surge of determination. She will pay for this. I will make sure of it. The night drags on, my mind a whirlpool of plans and possibilities. By morning, I've decided on my course of action. I won't just confront her lover. I won't just end our marriage. I'll destroy everything she holds dear, just as she destroyed my trust. This is only the beginning. The next morning dawns too quickly, the sunlight filtering through the blinds, casting harsh lines across the bedroom. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the weight of my decision pressing heavily on my chest. Jessica is already gone, leaving behind an eerily silent house. I push myself out of bed, the anger simmering just beneath the surface. I need to move forward, to see this plan through. After a quick shower, I head downstairs, my mind racing with possibilities. I need allies. I need to gather information, to understand the full extent of Jessica's betrayal. Rachel's confession replays in my mind, and I realize she's the key to my plan. If she has more information, she can help me expose Jessica and her lover. I grab my phone and dial Rachel's number. She answers on the second ring, her voice tentative. David? Rachel, I need to see you. Can you meet me at the cafe on Elm Street in an hour? Of course, she replies quickly. I'll be there. I hang up and get dressed, the adrenaline surging through me. I leave the house, the familiar streets blurring as I make my way to the cafe. When I arrive, Rachel is already there, sitting at a corner table. She looks up, her eyes filled with concern. David, she says softly as I sit down. I'm so sorry you had to find out this way. I nod, struggling to keep my composure. I need to know everything, Rachel. How long has this been going on? Who is he? She takes a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. His name is Mark. They've been seeing each other for about 6 months. I found out a few weeks ago, but I didn't know how to tell you. 6 months, I mutter, the anger bubbling up again. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was scared, she admits, her voice breaking. Jessica is my best friend, but I couldn't stand seeing you hurt. I had to do something. I lean back, processing the information. I need proof, Rachel. More than just messages. I need to catch them in the act. She nods, determination replacing her earlier fear. I can help with that. Jessica mentioned she's meeting Mark tonight at the Riverside Hotel. Room 214. A surge of satisfaction courses through me. Perfect. I'll be there. Rachel reaches across the table, her eyes pleading. David, be careful. This could get messy. I squeeze her hand briefly, then stand up. Thank you, Rachel. I owe you. As I leave the cafe, a plan forms in my mind. I need someone who can help me gather evidence without alerting Jessica. I decide to call in a favor from an old friend. I dial Tony's number. He's a private investigator, someone who knows how to handle delicate situations like this. He picks up after a few rings, his gruff voice instantly familiar. Tony, it's David. I need your help. David? What's going on? I give him a brief rundown of the situation. I need you to help me catch her in the act. Tonight. Riverside Hotel, room 214. Tony whistles low. That's some heavy stuff, man. But I'm in. I'll bring my gear and meet you there at 7. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. We hang up, and I feel a sense of relief. With Tony's help, I'll have the proof I need to confront Jessica and Mark. The day drags on, each hour feeling like an eternity. Finally, at 6:30, I head to the Riverside Hotel. The lobby is bustling with activity, but I move with purpose, scanning the faces around me. I spot Tony near the elevators, his expression serious. David, he greets me with a nod. Let's do this. We head up to the second floor, my heart pounding in my chest. As we approach room 214, Tony sets up a small camera outside the door, hidden in the potted plant. This will capture everything, he says, his voice low. We'll wait here until they arrive. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours. Finally, I hear the sound of voices approaching. Jessica and Mark. I tense, my fists clenching at my sides. They enter the room, and Tony gives me a nod. We wait a few more minutes before approaching the door. I knock, and the muffled sounds from inside go silent. The door opens slightly, and Mark's face appears, his eyes widening in shock. David? What the hell? I push the door open, stepping inside. Jessica stands near the bed, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. David, please, I can explain. I hold up a hand, stopping her. Don't bother. I know everything. Tony steps in behind me, the camera capturing every moment. This is over, Jessica. We're done. She bursts into tears, but I feel nothing. Mark tries to intervene, but Tony blocks him, his presence imposing. Stay out of this, buddy. I turn to leave, but not before taking one last look at Jessica. The woman I thought I knew, now a stranger. You'll hear from my lawyer. I walk out, the weight of finality settling over me. As Tony and I exit the hotel, I realize there's no turning back. This is just the beginning of my plan to make her pay. And I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. The next few days pass in a haze of paperwork and confrontation. I move quickly, determined to keep the momentum of my anger and betrayal driving me forward. I file for divorce, contact a lawyer, and begin the process of disentangling my life from Jessica's. Each step feels like a small victory, a piece of my life reclaimed from the wreckage. My phone rings incessantly, Jessica's name flashing on the screen. I ignore her calls, letting them go to voicemail. Her messages are a mix of apologies and pleas for forgiveness, but I can't bring myself to listen to them. My focus is on the endgame now, exposing her infidelity and ensuring she faces the consequences. One afternoon, as I'm reviewing documents with my lawyer, my phone buzzes with a new message. It's from Rachel. She wants to meet, saying she has more information that might help. I agree, curious about what else she could possibly reveal. We meet at a quiet park, far from prying eyes. Rachel looks nervous, glancing around as if expecting someone to leap out from the bushes. I sit down on the bench next to her, my patience wearing thin. Rachel, what is it? What's so urgent? She takes a deep breath, clutching her bag tightly. David, I know you're angry and hurt. But there's something you need to know. It's not just about Jessica and Mark. I frown, leaning closer. What do you mean? Rachel pulls out a folder from her bag, handing it to me. Jessica and Mark have been planning something behind your back. Something bigger than just an affair. I open the folder, my eyes scanning the documents inside. Bank statements, email correspondences, and legal documents all paint a damning picture. Jessica and Mark have been funneling money from our joint accounts into offshore accounts, preparing for a life together. They're planning to disappear, Rachel continues, her voice trembling. They've been siphoning funds for months. If you don't act fast, they'll be gone, and you'll be left with nothing. I feel a cold, hard knot form in my stomach. This is more than just a betrayal of the heart, this is a calculated, premeditated scheme. I close the folder, my resolve hardening. Thank you, Rachel. This changes everything. Rachel nods, relief washing over her face. I had to tell you. You deserve to know the truth. I leave the park, my mind racing with plans. I need to stop them before they can make their escape. I call Tony, explaining the new development. He agrees to help, suggesting we involve law enforcement to catch them in the act. That night, I wait outside our house, hidden in the shadows. Jessica and Mark are inside, likely finalizing their plans. I watch the windows, my heart pounding as I wait for the signal from Tony. He's set up surveillance, ready to record every detail. Hours pass, each one stretching longer than the last. Finally, I see Tony's signal, a brief flash of light from his car parked down the street. I take a deep breath and move towards the house, my footsteps silent on the gravel. I burst through the front door, finding Jessica and Mark in the living room. They jump up, shock and fear flashing across their faces. David! What are you doing here? Jessica stammers, her eyes wide. Cut the act, I snap, holding up the folder Rachel gave me. I know everything. The affair, the money, the plans to disappear. Mark steps forward, trying to play the peacemaker. David, let's talk about this rationally. No, I cut him off, my voice cold. We're past talking. At that moment, Tony enters, flanked by 2 police officers. The officers move quickly, cuffing Mark and Jessica as they protest, their voices rising in panic. I watch, a grim satisfaction settling over me. As they are led out of the house, Jessica turns to me, tears streaming down her face. David, please. I can explain. I shake my head, my voice steady. I trusted you, Jessica. You destroyed that trust. Now you have to face the consequences. With Jessica and Mark in custody, I return to the living room, the adrenaline slowly fading. Tony approaches, a look of approval on his face. You did good, David. This was the right move. I nod, feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Thank you, Tony. I couldn't have done it without you. He claps me on the shoulder. Take care of yourself, man. This is just the beginning. There's a long road ahead. As Tony leaves, I sit down, the weight of the day's events finally catching up to me. The house feels different now, the shadows less oppressive. I know there's still a lot to do, but for the first time in days, I feel a glimmer of hope. I pick up my phone, scrolling through the countless messages from Jessica. I delete them all, one by one, each deletion feeling like a step towards reclaiming my life. I lean back, closing my eyes, the exhaustion settling over me. This chapter of my life is ending, but a new one is beginning. One where I rebuild, piece by piece, stronger and wiser. I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready for the challenge. As I drift off to sleep, I feel a sense of peace, knowing that justice has been served and the future is mine to shape. The weeks following Jessica and Mark's arrest are a whirlwind of legal proceedings and emotional turmoil. The betrayal cuts deep, but the support from friends, particularly Rachel, helps me stay grounded. We spend long hours discussing the details of the case, piecing together the fragments of my shattered life. One evening, I sit at the dining table, the dim light casting long shadows. Papers are strewn across the surface, remnants of the investigation and divorce proceedings. My phone buzzes with a message from Tony. Tony, got some new info. Meet me at the usual spot. Intrigued and slightly anxious, I grab my coat and head out. The usual spot is a quiet bar on the outskirts of town, a place where Tony and I have had many late-night conversations. I arrive to find Tony already there, nursing a drink. David, he greets me, his expression serious. I've got something you need to see. I sit down, my curiosity piqued. Tony hands me a small flash drive. What's on this? I ask. More than you could imagine, he replies cryptically. I came across something unexpected while going through Jessica and Mark's financial records. I plug the flash drive into my laptop, my heart racing as I open the files. A series of videos pop up, each dated within the last year. I click on the first one, my breath catching as the video plays. It's Jessica, sitting in our living room, talking to someone off camera. "You think he suspects anything?" the unseen person asks. "No," Jessica replies, her voice cold and detached. "David's too trusting. He has no idea." I feel a chill run down my spine as I realize the voice belongs to Rachel. The woman who claimed to love me, who helped me expose Jessica and Mark, is involved. I watch more videos, each one revealing more of their plot. Rachel and Jessica had been working together, manipulating me from the start. Tony watches me, his expression unreadable. "I'm sorry, David. I didn't see this coming either." Anger and disbelief surge through me. So, Rachel was behind this all along. Why would she do this? Tony leans forward, his voice low. "Rachel has been in love with you for years. She and Jessica devised this plan to push you to your breaking point. Jessica gets to be with Mark, and Rachel hoped you'd turn to her once the dust settled." I feel sick, the betrayal cutting deeper than ever. "So, it was all a lie. Everything." Tony nods. "Yes, but there's more. Rachel has been skimming money from Jessica and Mark's accounts. She planned to leave with you, using that money to start a new life." I sit back, trying to process the layers of deception. "What do I do now?" I ask, my voice shaking. Tony's eyes harden. "We set a trap. Let Rachel think her plan is working. We'll gather enough evidence to take her down, just like we did with Jessica and Mark." The next few days are a blur of careful planning. I reach out to Rachel, pretending to be devastated and in need of support. She buys it, her concern a twisted mix of genuine affection and calculated manipulation. We meet often, her presence now a grotesque reminder of the deception. One evening, Rachel invites me to her apartment. "I have something for you," she says, her smile soft and inviting. A way to start fresh. I follow her inside, my heart pounding. She hands me a glass of wine, her eyes bright with anticipation. "To new beginnings," she says, raising her glass. I clink mine against hers, the smile on my face feeling like a mask. To new beginnings. As we drink, I notice her watching me closely. "David, I know this has been hard on you," she begins, her voice gentle. "But we can move past it. Together." I force a smile, setting my glass down. "Rachel, there's something I need to tell you." Her eyes widen slightly, curiosity and hope mingling. "What is it?" "I know everything," I say, my voice steady. "The videos, the plan with Jessica. I know about the money." Her face pales, the smile vanishing. "David, I can explain." "No," I cut her off, standing up. "No more lies." Before she can react, Tony steps into the room, his camera capturing every moment. Rachel's eyes dart between us, panic setting in. "David, please. I did it for us." "For us?" I echo, my anger finally breaking through. "You destroyed my life, Rachel. All for a sick fantasy." The police arrive shortly after, taking Rachel into custody. As she's led away, she looks back at me, her eyes pleading. "I love you, David. But I feel nothing but a hollow emptiness." "You don't know what love is," I reply coldly. With Rachel gone, the weight of the betrayal finally lifts. I stand with Tony, watching as the police car disappears into the night. "It's over," he says quietly. I nod, feeling a strange mix of relief and sadness. Yeah, it's over. The next few months are a time of healing and rebuilding. I finalize the divorce with Jessica, cutting all ties with her and Mark. Rachel is sentenced to prison for her role in the scheme, and I start to piece my life back together. One evening, I sit alone in my living room, the same room where so much of this started. The silence feels different now, not oppressive but peaceful. I pick up a photo of my parents, their smiles a reminder of simpler times. As I set the photo back down, my phone buzzes with a new message. It's from Tony. Tony, how about a drink? You deserve it. I smile, typing a quick reply. David, sounds good. See you soon. I stand, looking around the room one last time. The past is behind me now, a painful but valuable lesson. As I head out to meet Tony, I feel a sense of closure, ready to embrace whatever the future holds. And so, the final chapter of this twisted tale comes to an end. A story of betrayal, deception, and ultimate justice. I walk into the night, knowing that I've survived the storm and come out stronger on the other side.